Hey peeps, how we doing? How are we doing? Guess what? It's September. How is it September? I don't understand. I don't know where this year has gone. I've got a 7 month old. How is that possible? Felt like I only gave birth yesterday. Anyway, how you doing? Let me know if you're here. I can't believe we've just finished August, and I just want to shout out to all the people who literally jumped on board last night, because we've finished this membership now. This membership's no longer available. So welcome. I can't remember where we got to. Judith, Christina, Melissa, Juliana, Alyssa, Cara, Vicky, Ruth, Nicola, Catherine, Nina, Erin. Welcome. How you doing? So excited for you guys. I can't wait. Remember yesterday's video we talked about accountability? Make sure you are in the Facebook members group, okay? And make sure you've put your name down on the accountability so I can put you on the tracker, okay? Let's make sure you get results, okay? So we have a new page for September, and I've decided to be a bit more organised. As you can see, this is a bit of hickledy-pickledy. So I've sort of got, I've made lines. I basically put lines on the board. And massive welcome to Lanny Tater, who has literally joined us, the first one who has joined us in September for our membership, which we'll talk about today. So yeah, let's get stuck in. We are going to talk about today levels, okay? Particularly beginner to intermediate, because that seems to be the level that most people struggle with. Now, give me a second. Let me make sure I get my Facebook page up. You know what I'm like. I'm going to put it down here as per usual, so that I'm not all over the place. Because you know me, I'm like, right. Let's do this. Let's do this. So beginner and intermediate level seems to be the ones that get mixed a lot. So I see a lot of people going, oh, I'm beginning. I've literally just been polling for a month and I'm trying to get my butterfly and I can't. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Butterfly inversions, guys, are not beginner. No. Okay. Now, other people may disagree with me, right? So let's talk about it. Right, hang on, let me just make sure I'm here. Hey Kathy, hey Katrine, hey Susan, hey Jennifer, how you doing? Got the Off the Pole membership, well done Katrine. Did 2 sessions this morning. Love the happy dance at the, oh yes. If you haven't joined us, you don't know what the happy dance is, you're missing out. We do love a happy dance. Because if you feel good at the end of the workout, you want to do it again, hence why you did 2. Cool. So let's talk about levels, okay, and why levels are really important. Don't get me wrong, there are sometimes crossovers, okay, in levels, which is normal, and you may find that you can get more advanced or higher level moves than you can in your current level. That is quite normal, and it really just depends. Everybody is different. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. So you may be really really in your arms and you'll be able to hold some really awesome arm only moves, but you might be weaker in your legs. So you may not feel like you can get like an upright crucifix, for example, but you might be able to, hold, I can't think of anything right now, but do you know what I mean? So if you depending on what you're stronger at or what you're weaker at will depend sort of where you sit, but it's still important to practice everything. So let's go over some common. Do you like this? It says, you think I'm listening, but I'm mentally nailing moves I just watched on Instagram. Pole junkie. It's got hot chocolate in it. It's nothing healthy in that. Right. Hey Tanisha, how you doing? I don't know why, I just fancied the hot chocolate. And that's what I got. Anyway, right, where were we? Yes, okay. I need to get back on track. Get back on track, girl. Okay, so beginner to intermediate. Now, you generally have beginner, intermediate, advanced, okay? Those are kind of the 3 standard levels, if you like, right? There are different, there's going to be, like I said the other day, that pole is not regulated, okay? So everybody's going to be teaching slightly differently, okay? Some people have lots of levels, and I would, if you have a choice of going to somebody who has 3 levels or somebody who has 20 levels, always go with somebody who's got 20 levels, because they've obviously broken down their syllabus so much for you to be able to learn in the most logical way. Definitely the way forward. I actually only have 5. But lots of people may have, lots of different levels, which is really, really awesome. So go with that, okay? And the reason why is because each level, so if you just think about a beginner level, it's so wide range, okay? I could probably break my beginner level down into like 4 different levels. But, you know, I just decided I do a beginner and a higher beginner. And like I said, some people have like, you know, levels 1 to 4, levels 4 to 8, and then levels 8 to 12, for example, and that just might be a beginner level. That might be just a 12-week course, for example. Like our beginner course is at least 12 weeks, and then we've got a higher beginner, which is another 12 weeks. There is so much to learn. So the reason why I've broken it down is because you need to, you know, if somebody has just joining, so for example, I always think about if you're going to a class, because, you know, a lot of you may be going to the studio and are trying to learn at home. Now, if you go to a beginner class, if somebody has been as a beginner, you know, for 8 months, they're going to be learning something completely different to what you are. So, for example, an upright crucifix. I don't expect you to get an upright crucifix right away, and not exactly, you know, as much as it's classed as a beginner move, it's not something you tend to nail right away. Does that make sense? So you kind of want to make sure that you understand that push and pull technique you need with, you know, pushing with your shin, pulling with the calf. Skater pose is that classic example, which is why skater pose is in our very, very beginning session, because you need to master that. Does that make sense? Like, you can't understand some moves until you've done the prerequisites, which is why learning in the progressional order is really important. Anyway, I can talk about this so much. Butterflies, definitely not beginners. Not sure about intermediates if you ask me. Definitely higher advanced. Oh, Jen, you make me laugh because Jennifer, she's been one of our members for a long time now, God love her. And she's actually one that goes to a studio as well. She has pole at home, but she also goes to the studio. And she can whack out some crazy ass tricks, right? Some really advanced stuff. But when it comes to a butterfly, for her, it's more of a, what's the word? Confidence, sort of mental. It's stuck in her head. She's definitely got the ability to. But if you notice, when I actually spoke to Jen, she doesn't do a lot of pushing tricks. Okay, so when you don't do a lot of pushing tricks, you rely on, like, you know, leg grips and that kind of thing. So she's strong and everywhere else, but that pushing strength, she's got the ability, but it's confidence. And so, you know, learning a logical order, so learning through beginners, lots of pushing strength, lots of handstand moves, the caterpillars, that kind of thing. You can do floor-based handstand caterpillars. That's all going to help you build up to that intermediate level. So what class is as a beginner move and what class is an intermediate move? Now, this is going to be very depending on, you know, person to person, instructor to instructor. What's the word when you, like, you know, I can't think of the right word for that. Yeah, it will come to me. Hopefully it will come to me. And if you guys can think of the word, let me know. You guys are usually better at this than I am. So when it comes to beginners, I do not expect a beginner to be doing any inverts, okay? Prepping, inverts, tucks, tilts, absolutely. Even like reversing up the pole, okay? So I do something called like a reverse handstand. So I'll start with like a reverse tuck and then work into handstand, getting close to the pole. That's going to prep you for intermediate, and then intermediate is where you go upside down, okay? You've built that strength and technique in the beginner level to get you up there. So classically, if you think beginner, so if a beginner, I wouldn't expect like first session to do upright crucifix, but towards the end of that beginner section, before you go into what I call higher beginner, you definitely want to have mastered your upright crucifix, or at least understanding that position that you need with the push and pull with the shin and the calf. It makes sense, and squeezing with the thighs. Then in the higher beginner, we can work on being in that position because you understand your leg positioning, upside down, but going backwards up the pole. So one, we can build that pushing strength up, okay, going backwards up the pole, like a handstand position, and then understand how you're meant to grip the pole, you know, once your hands are on the floor, okay? And then only once you've mastered that, you then can progress into intermediate, because then you've built your strength up for your inverts, you're tucking up, okay? And you've built your pushing strength up, and you've understood that your inner thighs need to squeeze, and you're pushing the pole technique with your calf and your shin to be able to do it up the pole. Does this make sense? So if you're going to a beginner class and they're getting you to go upside down right away, come out, okay? Find another class, okay? I promise you, because you've missed so much foundations. And to be honest, I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again anyway, just in case anyone's new here. But I have some people that have joined us in our program, and they actually got up to, you know, they say they were intermediate level, but they had never done, like, they never did a butterfly. They actually did no pushing strength. So yes, she could hang from her legs, but oh my God, she could not push up a technique for that pushing position. Caterpillars, butterflies, inverted Ds, you know, everything that needs that pushing element, she didn't have. So we had to start again with her from the beginning to build her confidence up, because you need that confidence first to be able to build your strength up from the floor before taking it up the pole. So you basically have to go back, which is annoying. So you may as well start from the beginning and work your way up. Does this make sense? Do you have any questions about that? Hey Debbie, how you doing? Different training styles. So yeah, there are different technique. Like I said, everybody will teach slightly different. Everybody will have a different thought process, because like I said, there is no regulation in our sport. But I was trying to think as logically as possible what you would need to do. So if you think about a move, now this is the thing, as a student you might not think about this, okay, because I knew I didn't have a clue. You know, because if I didn't, you don't know what you don't know, right? So but as an instructor, as you progress, it's like, what could I possibly do before this move to make them have that a little bit of understanding? What would help? What's pushing, what's pulling? What other moves push and pull in this same position that might be a slightly lower level that I can make sure that you've done before that, so that they can do that? Does that make sense? And hopefully when you've got lots of different levels, it'll break it down even more. So let's go, let me just get up our tracker. So talking about levels, if you haven't got a blinking clue how to pole, because you don't know what level you're at, always start at the beginning. Now, you might go, oh, I don't want to start again because, you know, I've reached intermediate. And now I've heard that time and time again, right? Hang on. Oh, it's so good. It's a lovely hot chocolate. Anyway, I digress. Where was I? Got distracted by my hot chocolate. Yeah, so if you're trying to learn at home and you've reached like what you call an intermediate level, now you might be intermediate at the studio. That doesn't mean you're intermediate at home unless you can do everything at the studio without a spotter, okay? So that's one of the things to think about. If you are learning at home, it can feel a little bit scarier. And obviously we want to build that confidence up. So I would always recommend to level down. And most of my members always start from the very beginning because they've missed so much. Going to the studio, you'll tend to miss a lot of stuff because they've got everybody else to cater for. And so somebody, like I said, has been in a beginner class for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 a year, right? They're not going to want to just do step arounds and front hook spins. So let's talk about what should be in it. So in beginners, for example, you would expect to be doing walkarounds. You would expect to be doing a front hook spin, a back hook spin, skater poses. I do a wrist seat in that as my end of level move. Okay, so it's my most advanced move in a beginner level. But then I also work on like forearm stands, and the reason why, or headstands and forearm stands, because again, I'm building your confidence being upside down from the very beginning in a safe manner. What else we do? Pulling strength, so crab pose, forearm and bracket grip. You can have a look at your boomerang pose. So lots of different moves that's going to prep you for all different kinds of grips as well is definitely key. Most of the time, you will always have lots of contact points as well, okay? Most of the time, you'll have 3, so there'll be times where actually you might take a contact point off to make it a little bit harder, and you might do that in your studio, but most of the time, there's at least 3 contact points in a beginner level. And they're generally always in an upright position, unless you've got your hands on the floor and you're doing forearm stands or headstands or whatever okay? So any inverts come in intermediate, okay? Let's give your body a chance to get up in that position. So let me see if I can turn my screen around for you, because if you come and join us in the, so I don't know if you know, but I've added another Mission 500 membership. That means that I'm giving you our foundation structured pole lessons, okay? So basically, if I show you, if I turn this around, this is just on my computer. Okay, so this is like a tracker, So you can see like these are like these are the moves that you'll learn in our beginner level, okay? And what we've done here is you can just print this out. So we've got left and right, and you can just tick it off as you complete each one, so that you know which side's a good side, maybe you got a weaker side that you can work on, so you can just tick them off as you go along. But you can see on here, okay, then usually always upright, okay? So we've got a basic martini, a basic sit, a crab pose. You might recognize some of these. Fireman spin, a headstand using your forearms, genie, okay? Genie is a key foundational move for sure. Side pose, step around, skater pose, tucks, upright crucifix, understanding that grip and position, okay? Angel, arabesque, so we've got loads on here. Understanding body rolls, okay? We'll take a leg grip off there for fire lady, okay? Advancing on from your fireman. What else have we got here? We've got some rolls, so a floor log pulse, and we've got a floor log roll as well, some spins. So we've got static and spinning pole moves on here as well. Does this all make sense? So this is like, hang on, let's just turn this around. Right, so that's a beginner tracker, okay? That's what we give you when you come and join us, whether it's a program, whether it's structured lessons. You can be able to download that so you can see what you're going to learn in this level, and you can just tick it off as you go along, okay? And it'd be really great actually if you have a look at that and see what you have already done and what you haven't already done, because it may be boggling might be not the right word, but you know, just seeing what you haven't learnt, and what you could have learnt to help you level up as well. So if you're feeling like you've plateaued, lots of people do, that's what tend to be why they join the program. It's like, oh, I'm stuck, I've been here for ages. It's because they haven't got some foundation moves. So making sure you've got those foundation moves are key, okay? So yeah, so that is beginner. So if you think about what those moves are, if I just get the higher beginner tracker up, turn you around again. Alrighty, okay, so you can see how we can advance on from the beginner, okay? So we've got like reverse crucifix, okay? You've just learned your upright crucifix in your beginner level. Reverse handstands, understanding that pushing technique I was telling you about. Genie half split, okay? Extending that leg, so you've learned your genie position. You've learned your seat position, so let's look at advancing into a seated ball. If you can't do a basic seat, then why would you be learning a seated ball? Does that make sense? So you can understand how levels and why they need to be this way to progress and to level up, yeah? So everything in the beginner level is generally in an upright position. So let me give the intermediate for you. This is where it gets a little bit harder, okay? So but now you've learned all the beginner strength stuff, you'll be able to learn all the stuff upside down. So get in those leg hooks. Do you remember the other day I taught you how to do this from the floor? Okay, you would have done that in your beginner level. So now you're ready to understand about how to do it up the pole. Superman, okay, you've learned your side pose. Okay, now we're going to advance onto it. Superman. Now I know some people actually teach. So I've known others to teach Superman as a beginner level. It's like, what? Crazy! I just think that's nuts, because there's so much to get and understand the technique to just get a side pose. So to have that somebody think that a Superman is a beginner is a bit scary for me. And that's a lot of times why people feel like they need to give up on pole, like they're not good enough. Because they haven't learned that progression. They're like, well, how do I get into this position? Have I mastered it? Can I hold it? So yeah, you make sure that you are learning the levels, guys. So does that make sense? So anything inverted, I class as intermediate. And then you've got your basic intermediates as well, okay? So like we had a look at your basic static moves, maybe in beginner, thinking about genie, okay? And then in higher beginner, we look at genie extended, okay? Or genie half split as well, so you can see how that levels up. And then when you've got understand your hooks, obviously you can go into your outside leg hang, which comes into the intermediate level. Does this make sense? I'm hoping so. I'm hoping to help you learn in a logical order. So yeah, and then obviously once you've got like your Gemini and you've done your butterfly position, okay, you understand your inverts, then after butterfly, you wouldn't expect to go to an intermediate class and then do extended butterfly, because you haven't done butterfly. So that, can you see how those, why I've separated those? So I have into my intermediate butterfly, and then in my higher intermediate extended butterfly, because it's the next step on. Yeah. So definitely make sure you learn in a logical order, and if you've got access to this, download it, because it's really super helpful. Most girls love seeing what they're going to learn in each lesson. Yeah, let me know if you've got any questions on that. I've just talked and I haven't really checked. Let me know if you've got any questions. I feel like I may have frozen. So yeah, learn in a logical order. You will progress much faster that way. And let me know if you've got any questions on, levels, and whether if I can answer them, I will. So yeah, okay, makes sense? Hopefully so. Let me know if you've got any questions with that, and I will speak to you soon. Have fun polling. Bye.